So you want to get an aftermarket wheel and tire setup with that perfect look, but you're not exactly sure what kind of tire specifications you should be running to achieve the look that you're after. Well, you've come to the right place, because we are the wheel and tire fitment experts, and we're here to help you. So today we're going to go over some tips and some tricks to help you guys get on that fast track to figuring out your ideal wheel and tire package setup. But before we jump headfirst into this one, I got to hit you guys with the plug. If you're enjoying the content, consider subscribing. We appreciate the love, and it's the only way you guys are going to be able to stay up to date with all the more technical Fitment Industries content. And you're going to be the first ones to see our new product. And if you ever need anything, wheels, tires, or suspension, make sure to come hit up your boy at fitmentindustries.com. If you like oddball cars and want to see some behind the scenes action here at Fitment Industries, go ahead and give me a follow on Instagram at seanb.fi. Let's get started. Before we can determine what size tires can fit on your wheels, you kind of need to understand how tires and wheels are measured. Now, tire sizing can be a little confusing at first because the way they're measured is a little bit wonky. Some numbers are metric, some numbers are standard, and others are aspect ratios. But once you do understand how these work, it's gonna help you get a better idea of how you need to shape your setup to fit your needs and wants. Tire size specifications are listed on the sidewall of the tire in order from left to right by width, then aspect ratio, and then bead diameter. Tire width is a 3-digit number measured in millimeters, followed by a 2-digit number referring to the tire sidewall's aspect ratio compared to its width, followed by a letter, usually R, but sometimes it's ZR, and then another 2-digit number referring to the bead diameter, or what diameter wheel the tire is actually made for, and that's measured in inches. So, starting with the tire width. The width of the tire is measured in millimeters and determines the tire's advertised width. This measurement of width has no real correlation with contact patch, and what I mean by that is that a 245 wide tire or 9.6 inch wide tire is only going to have about 9 inches of direct contact patch if you measure from the outer square edges of the tire. So, putting said 9-inch wide tire on a 9-inch wide wheel is still going to give you a bit of a stretched look, even on a 9-inch wide wheel. So, choosing a tire that matches a wheel's advertised width isn't always the best idea if you're looking for that meaty squared up look. But maybe more important and more overlooked than anything else is the wheel width is actually measured from bead seat right here to the other bead seat. And that's not the wheel's actual overall width. The measurement from the bead seat to the outside of the wheel is actually an additional 1/2 inch that's going to be right here. And keep in mind, that's going to be on both sides of the wheel. So a 9-inch wide wheel is actually going to be 10 inches wide from its outer furthest point. A general rule of thumb I've been using for a long time to choose my desired tire width to fit my application is I determine what size tire would give me that perfectly squared up look. And what I mean by that is to have a nearly vertical sidewall, just like kind of you see here. From there, I can more easily determine what size tire I would need to achieve my goals, whether that's to stretch a certain amount for that stancy fitment or simply have additional clearance with an aggressive offset wheel. Or maybe you want to give it that bulgy, aggressive motorsports fitment and simply slap on the widest tire possible. Or you're like me and you want that vertical sidewall because you think that looks like the perfect amount of aggressiveness. Either way, the formula is the same. So what you want to do is take your wheel's overall width and convert this to millimeter. For example's sake, let's talk about this 18 by 8.5 inch BBS CHR. We know that the wheel being 8.5 inches wide actually means that the wheel is 9.5 inches wide, and that 9.5 inches converts to 241 millimeters. So we're gonna wanna look at a 245 millimeter wide tire to achieve that vertical sidewall, which we can then add or subtract to in 10 millimeter increments, 5 on each side, to get that ideal look. Next, what you're gonna wanna do is try to determine the sidewall height or the aspect ratio that you want or need. An aspect ratio is going to refer to the tire sidewall's height compared to its width. So 245/40 tire has a sidewall height that's 40% of its 245 millimeter width. So since 40% of 245 is 98, we now know that our sidewall height is 98 millimeters tall. Now, unless you're doing some sick off-roading here, the general rule of thumb is to stick as close to your stock overall diameter as possible so it doesn't mess with your speedometer or anything like that. So what you're gonna wanna do is head over to fitmentindustries.com and pull up the tire size comparison calculator that I'll link below and punch in your stock tire size. If you already had aftermarket wheels in your vehicle, you can refer to the information sticker located on the car's door jamb or gas cap to find your factory recommended sizing. So let's run through that wheel quick. This wheel and tire setup is actually gonna be going on a 2001 Audi S4. The factory B5 S4 is a 17 by 7.5 wheel with a 225/45 tire. We want to go up to this 18 by 8.5 wheel with a 245/40 tire. just punch in those factory specifications and your factory overall diameter is going to be 25 inches. So I want to get as close to that number as possible to keep the ABS cruise traction control and speedometer calibrated. After putting in a couple different sizes, the closest I can get to a 25-inch diameter with a 245 tire is going to be to drop down that aspect ratio to 30% of the width to a 245/30/18, which brings me to a 24.8-inch diameter. But a 245/30 isn't a very common size and it's pretty hard to find and a bit expensive. So stepping up to that 245/40 is going to put us at that 25.7 inch of total diameter, which is going to be a little over 2% change in height, which is equivalent to about 2 miles an hour off at 70 miles an hour, which the owner is more than okay with, and it's completely fine for this application and vehicle. So don't let all the numbers and percentages scare you. It's pretty easy to figure out once you understand what the numbers and everything means. So give the video a thumbs up if I've helped clear the air on some of those commonly missed, and to see more content just like this, we'd super appreciate it if you subscribe. We're aiming for that 100K mark for 2021, and I know we can do it with your help. And as always, if you have any wheel, tire, or suspension needs, come see the experts at fitmentindustries.com and we'll get you set up with everything that you need to take your ride to the next level. I'm Sean B to FI on Instagram. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.